the season finale for this Mazda Road to Indy. Championships already locked up in this category, but champions still to be crowned in Pro Mazda and Indy Lights. 9 rows of drivers set to go. Row number 9 starting 18th. Number 14, Max Peichel for Arms Up Motorsports. Inside of row number 9, starting in the 17th spot for Newman Walks Racing, the number 38 driver is Oscar De Luzuriaga. Moving now to row number 8, starting on the outside in the 16th position. His debut here in USF 2000, currently leading the F1600 points in both the Ontario and Quebec Championships, running in his debut weekend here in USF 2000 from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Kellen Ritter in the number 90 for Exclusive Autosports, starting 16th. Inside of that row, starting in the 15th spot, the young lady out of Brazil for Team Pelfrey in the yellow and black machine, Bruna Tomaselli in the 82. Moving now to row number 7 on the outside from Little Rock, Arkansas for BN Racing, the rookie Russell McDonough in the number 29. Inside of that row, watch out for the number 9 of Dakota Dickerson. Dickerson out of San Diego, California, running for Arms Up Motorsports. Moving now to row number 6 on the outside, the local driver here in the Mazda Road to Indy. It will be Kyle Dupel out of Salem, Oregon in the number 81 for Team Pelfrey, starting 12th alongside the D-Force driver Jose Sierra, both drivers rookies in the series. Moving now into the top 10, we do have our command to start coming soon. I'll wrap up the grid after that, but we will have, starting in the 10th spot, Colin Kaminsky in the number 27 alongside the Pabst Racing driver Calvin Ming in the number 21. Row number 4, starting 8th on the outside, your reigning South African F1600 champion for Team Pelfrey, the rookie Julian Vanderwatt, number 80, starting in the 8th spot, alongside Corey Enders in the D-Force Racing, number 11. Row number 3, Braden Ease for Newman Walks Racing. Great start here, 6th in the order, Braden Ease for Newman Walks Racing. He'll start alongside Lucas Cole. Let's fire these cars up, ladies and gentlemen, then we'll give you the front 2 rows. And for the command to fire up these engines, one of our good friends from Allied Building Products, Steve Ryan.
On behalf of everyone at Allied Building Products, drivers, start your Mazda engines.
And with that, engines come to life down here on pit lane. Let's have a look at the top 2 rows. Starting on the outside of row number 2, born in Japan, lives in Brazil, currently 3rd in points, trying to see if he can't work his way to 2nd for Exclusive Autosports, Igor Fraga, the number 91, starting 4th. Starting in the 3rd position, inside of row number 2, 17 years of age, the Swedish rookie Rasmus Lint in the number 23 for Pabst Racing. He'll start 3rd. 18 drivers in the field, will put 2 on the front row. Off pole, 2nd-year driver in the series for Pabst Racing out of Potomac, Maryland, the number 24 of Kalen Frederick. But the driver starting on the pole right now from Jupiter, Florida, in the 8-ball for Cape Motorsports, already your champion in this category, securing the title with a fantastic run at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Kyle Kirkwood on the pole position. He'll start alongside Kalen Frederick, Brad McLean, and Igor Fraga on row number 2. Field streaming away from pit lane. Let's send it back to the booth and Michael Young.
Thank you, Rob Houghton. Getting set to go. Green flag racing. 18 machines make up this USF 2000 field as we look forward to the first of 2 races from these drivers this race weekend. Going to be an exciting race number 1. Kyle Kirkwood, as Robin said, the pole sitter for race number 1. Kalen Frederick on the outside of race number 1. It will be interesting as what we saw in race number 1 for the MX5 Cup Series drivers. Big incident in turn number 1. Hopefully not the same when we deal with these USF 2000 drivers. Hopefully we'll keep it clean and green through the entire race. Going to be exciting nonetheless as we get set to go again with race number 1 this afternoon. As you had heard, Kyle Kirkwood, your champion for 2018. He got the scholarship money. And we'll move up to the Pro Mazda Series for 2019. It's been one of those fantastic dreamlike seasons for Kyle Kirkwood as again we get ready to go green. Here as the field makes their way through turn number 7, now into turn number 8. Rob Houghton, the voice of this USF 2000 series, will join us here in the public address booth in just a few moments. One of the busiest guys in racing as he makes his way in. We'll let him catch his breath for a second and watch the field begin to get in the rows of 2. Working their way now down that back straightaway into turn number 10. It's a left-hander, and then turn number 11, that tight right-hander. This is where the field will carry all the speed, the long, sweeping. Turn number 12, the field is in formation, and here for the call of the USF 2000 start, the voice of the series, Rob Houghton.
Thank you so much, Michael. Drivers 2 by 2 coming down at turn number 12. The roll onto the drag strip front straightaway here at Portland. The Soul Red finale, last races of the season, ready to go. 2x2 up to the very tight festival curve. Here they come. Kirkwood on the inside, Frederick on the outside. Here comes the green, ladies and gentlemen. We are underway. Green flag being thrown by Bob Schwab. And indeed, they get the green at start finish. We'll race our way down. Can they get through Clinton? Oh, Kalen Frederick. Something happened to Kalen Frederick on the outside. He didn't think he was going to make it. He elected to take the short chute to go through. He'll have to go through some of those barriers to slow him up. Looks like potentially one of the Pabst Racing drivers has gone into the lead. Indeed, Kirkwood falls back. I'm going to say that's Rasmus Lint into the lead, but Michael Young, tough start for the outside front row starter. Kalen Frederick not able to make turn one.
And if we see a replay, I think he got bumped from the behind from Igor Fraga. I think Fraga got into the rear of Kalen Frederick, and as that car set to the left, I think he thought better of trying to make that right-hand turn. Here is the replay.
Yeah, I think that's Fraga maybe closer to the inside.
Right.
That's a driver coming from further back. No, I don't think there's any, maybe some contact there. That was his teammate.
Yep.
That, I believe, was Lucas Cole who
Yep.
got too deep into the corner. And you could see, Michael, he was starting to turn in, and the contact of the gearbox rotated the car in a counterclockwise direction. Good save for Frederick and a wise move to try to take it through the runoff area.
Yeah, I think if he would have tried to make that turn, he would have been in the middle of the pack, bottled everything up, and found himself worse for the wear.
Yeah, he potentially looped himself around, and that would not have been good whatsoever. Indeed, Rasmus Lint leads the first time by the stripe, but here comes Kyle Kirkwood to the inside. He'll take the lead into turn number one for the second lap, rather to complete lap number one, starting lap number two. So your newly crowned champion again, locked and loaded at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course with a run of 3 victories there. Swept the weekend to get the championship for Cape Motorsports, another title for the team out of Florida. The juggernaut of this USF 2000 program. Kirkwood's put that Cape Motorsports 8-ball machine back out front. Lint, Frederick running second and third, Igor Fraga in fourth, and that's the battle within the battle we got to talk about, Michael, throughout the race weekend, is the fight between Rasmus Lint, Igor Fraga, and Lucas Cole for second place in points. That's not decided yet. Yeah, the champion's locked and loaded. We know Kyle Kirkwood's going to Pro Mazda, as you had mentioned already, with that scholarship for next year, but that battle for second not done.
Well, Kellen Frederick did a great job recovering from that, took the runoff course, and then got himself back into that third position. I thought he'd fall further back than that, so a masterful job keeping himself in contention for the race.
Well, I wonder how that would play. Whether, if he indeed went through the whole runoffs, whether or not the officials would say that's fine. Now, if he went through the right area and was able to get through, I would be very surprised if he was able to come back out in third had he gone exactly through the barriers that they've set up to be able to go through there. The idea is to slow a car down enough that to navigate that kind of a sweeping right, left, right through the runoff. You should go further back in the
well,
field.
you would think that. That's why I was surprised he was still running in the third position.
We won't be able to see a replay of that, but I guarantee you that race control will be having a look at it. I'm sure there's probably somewhere that they could have a quick look. But regardless, at this point, Kirkwood leading by 0.3 of a second. There's like pretty much a 3-car breakaway, Michael. Good little fight further back there. That's, I think, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Lucas Cole, Calvin Ming, Julian Vanderwatt, and Dakota Dickerson. Good jump for Dickerson. Started 13th, now up into the 10th spot.
Kyle Kirkwood, again, that 0.3 of advantage doesn't seem to make up much of that lead or increase that lead into turn number 12, as indeed Caleb Frederick starting to close in on the rear wing of Rasmus Lint. So a nice battle shaping up for that second position, completing lap number 3, working on lap number 4.
Biggest gap within the top 10 from 6th back to 7th. That's Brayton Eaves in the Newman Walks Racing number 41, and Lucas Cole in the Pabst Racing other. That's Calvin Ming now up in the 7th spot. The gap now 1.1 seconds between Eaves in 6th and Calvin Ming now in 7th, as Ming able to get by his teammate Lucas Cole. Up front, Kirkwood now still about 0.4 of a second. That's going to equate to what, probably 4 or 5 car lengths, Michael, as they work their way now through turns 3, 4, 5, and over to turn number 6.
I will watch Rasmus Lint, especially as they get down to the front straightaway. If he can get a good run, now just paid attention to this on the last lap, he closed right in on the rear wing of Kyle Kirkwood, so potentially better straight line speed for Rasmus Lint, as we'll see that about a 5 car length advantage between Kirkwood and Rasmus Lint. See if he's able to close up this time by as they work their way through that very tight turn 10, 11, and 12. But last time by, Lint got a great run out of turn number 12.
2 things to remember when we're talking about these early laps of an event like this. It's a 25 lapper for these drivers. Number 1, getting out at turn number 7 is key. You and I talked about that. If you can get that forward bite, get the car turned and back on the throttle, you're going to be able to get on the throttle earlier, which is going to give you a better top speed when you get down into turn number 9. The second thing is these cars don't handle well right now. They're not designed to be really good on cold tires and full fuel loads. Once we get to the end of the race, that's when they really start handling well. It's the drivers who have the ability to kind of maybe manhandle a car that's not exactly perfect on these opening laps, really able to maximize on cold tires. Those are the drivers who find their way to the front or find their way to getting more spots early on, like at Dakota Dickerson. He was able to get 3 positions on the opening lap, just being able to handle those cold tires.
Kyle Kirkwood now with a little over half-second advantage over second-place running Rasmus Lindh, able to really gap himself down into turn number 1, set the fastest lap of the race again, and that's been kind of Kyle Kirkwood's MO, right? Gets the lead and then checks out. Will battle with that second-place driver for a couple of laps, but once he gets the lead, settles into that rhythm, that's when Kyle Kirkwood is at his best. Again, that half-second advantage, they make their way down into turn number 10.
And Michael, how many times this year have we talked about Kyle Kirkwood jumping out to maybe a 2-3 second lead, stretching away, and then he stops? And then he starts running the same pace as the guys behind him. They keep calling in. They're a little quicker, a little lower. He wants to keep that 3-second gap. Whatever gap it is that he feels comfortable with at that facility, he's been able to manage that gap, running the same pace as his competition. Look at this battle further back. Wow, that's the Pelfrey car of Joe Vanderwatt, and that's Lucas Cole. Cole defends all the way to the bottom. They're going to be side by side. There's contact. That's not surprising. Lucas Cole goes around. Tough one for Lucas, as he just did not want to give it up to Julian Vanderwatt. They came out at turn number 12. Vanderwatt went to the inside, the right side of the racetrack in near pit lane. Lucas Cole just drove all the way over to block there. Of course, came back out a little bit coming for turn number 1. And it looked to me like Vanderwatt was maybe halfway in there coming into the turn number 2. And probably wasn't all the way in, but enough that I think he just said, listen, if you're going to block me like that on the front straightaway, you're not going to take away the apex in turn 2.
Yeah, and Julian just kept that car right there, and that contact between the right rear wheel and the left front of Lucas Cole will cause Cole to go around. And Julian, I think, up there far enough that making that pass, one of those issues where I know Lucas wanted to battle him, but better to let him go around or give him a little more room than to cost himself that many positions.
That's tough because it was such an aggressive block to the inside. You make the move all the way back to the bottom of the racetrack. You're not supposed to make that second move. You can make a move down. You make the one move on the straightaway. When you come back to set up for the corner, you've essentially made that second move. If you're going to defend to the inside, you have to give up the exit speed of the next corner. He didn't do that, came back out. In fact, as we know, Vanderwatt able to get through. Now, watching Vanderwatt come through turn number 2, no particular damage to the car. Dakota Dickerson in the arms up motorsports machine, the number 9, has moved up into that position, closes right up on Vanderwatt. So we may see a battle for the 8th spot developing pretty soon. Just outside the top 10, there's Cole in 11th. Kyle Dupel, the local driver from Salem, Oregon, now running in the 12th position. Bruno Tomaselli, his teammate, in 13th. Kellen Ritter doing a good job with the number 90. First event here in USF 2000. Here's a good look at the replay again, Michael. Yeah, he was, you know, when you're right front to left rear contact, you're not far enough in.
No, he wasn't.
To be honest.
Yep,
but,
no, he wasn't.
But again, what's the other side of the coin? When Cole defends and blocks as much as he does, you know, Julian was there into the inside coming into turn number 2.
I will tell you that we might want to keep our eye on Kalen Frederick. I think he's starting to close in on Rasmus Lindh last couple of times down this front straightaway. If he gets a good enough run out of turn number 12, not this time by, but maybe next time by, I think Kalen Frederick's got a very fast race car.
Yeah, watch him try to get into the mirrors of his teammate. Again, Kalen Frederick, his second year in the series. He's been so consistent, was so consistent last year. This year he's had some ups and downs. He's made some really aggressive moves. I think he understands and maybe feeling the pressure to be able to get that first win for Pabst Racing. He made a couple of pretty aggressive moves at Mid-Ohio, found himself in the gravel trap. I think a couple of races he was actually involved in 2 incidents in each race, so it's not something, of course, he'd be happy with. Just really wants to get that win, and I think if he knows he's got a good race car, he's going to start getting aggressive. Top drivers running 1:11.5s, 1:11.6s. They're pulling away. They've got 2.3 seconds on Igor Fraga. So again, Rasmus Lindh and Igor Fraga, the 2 drivers involved in the fight for second place in the points.
Nice run for Kalen Frederick again down into turn number 10 as he closes in on that rear wing of Rasmus Lindh. Down be about a car length and a half, call it 2 car lengths as they exit turn number 12. Watching that battle for second, the Pabst Racing drivers, Rasmus Lindh, Kalen Frederick, drag racing down the front straightaway again. Nice run for Rasmus Lindh out of turn number 12 that time. Able to gap himself a little bit more, not allowing his teammate to get that nice run. But a little lockup there from our leader, Kyle Kirkwood.
Pushing hard into turn number 1 and 2, and indeed the gap just 0.8 of a second. Kirkwood not pulling away as much as he wanted to. Lucas Cole sets fast lap of the race. That's a little red mist.
That's exactly what that
make a mistake on the racetrack, you fall back to 11th. You really start getting up on the wheel and pushing hard. So Lucas Cole trying to fight his way back into the top 10. He's only about half a second behind Russell McDonough now. As they ran coming into the race, Igor Fraga was behind Rasmus Lindh by just 6 points. As they run on the racetrack, that gap now up to 12, 219 to 207. Again, Igor Fraga trying to work his way into second overall in the points, but Rasmus Lindh, who's really led the way for Pabst Racing, even as a rookie, has been just so tremendous on the pole at Road America, showing his blinding speed at that particular racetrack. Here's a young driver just 1 year away from finishing in the top 5 of the CIK International Karting Championships. Jumps right into USF 2000. He's been a phenom. I really hope he comes back to USF 2000 again next year. I know that there will be a thought doing so well of going to Pro Mazda, and that might be fantastic. I'd love to see Rasmus get in here and bang out a couple of wins and really get a feel for what it's like to stand on top of the podium here in America.
We've seen that a lot, right? Drivers maybe making it too aggressive a climb up that Mazda Road to Indy ladder, and it's when we've really seen a driver stay for that second season, potentially even for a third, that they really hone their skills, and when they get to that next step, far more competitive than they would have been if they jumped directly into that next step of the ladder.
One of my feelings on it is that I know everybody wants to get there. They want to be the youngest driver in the IndyCar. They want to be the youngest this. They want to try to get there as soon as possible. And I believe you're going to get there when it's right for you to get there, because as we all know, it doesn't come down to just talent. It also comes down to the business side, being able to put together the sponsorship and the funding needed to move to each level. And sometimes I would just rather see it. And I think it's easier for drivers and teams and parents and whatever the like may be to sell a sponsorship if the driver's doing really well. If you've won a bunch of races, that's something you can put on the resume. Then you build the program of deliverables around that driver, that success. Again, that's why I love seeing drivers get the opportunity to learn how to win. Not just learn how to be a top 5, but learn how to win, learn how to fight for a championship. Kirkwood, Lindh, Frederick, Fraga, and Enders the top 5. Calvin Ming's been able to get by Braden Eves. He's a driver on the move. Able to get through and pass his teammate at one point. Then his teammate Lucas Cole got together with Julian Vanderwatt. Calvin Ming in his second year of the series with Pabst Racing by Braden Eves for the 6th spot. Julian Vanderwatt right there as well. We may see Eves and Vanderwatt in the middle of a battle pretty soon. That's for 7th.
So Kyle Kirkwood again, an 0.8 of a second advantage. Saw him pushing a couple of laps back. Now that battle out of turn number 7 for that second place position. Lindh, Kalen Frederick, the field now through turn number 9, working lap 11 of this 25 lap event. Down into turn number 10, let's see if Frederick can close that gap with his Pabst Racing teammate. About a car length now.
Yeah, he's definitely working up on him. And again, the key will be to get through this 10, 11, 12 complex better. If you can get a better forward bite, better run out onto the straightaway, that's when you're going to make the run down into turn number 1. You don't make the pass really in turn 1. You make it back in 10, 11, and 12 by being able to get through there more cleanly than your teammate, and then having that momentum, having that extra horsepower, the extra speed, top speed at the end of the straightaway.
It looked like we were having a battle shape up further back in the field. I don't know if it was Braden Eves and Julian Vanderwatt. It looked like a nice little battle shaping up as they exited turn number 12. There is the top 3 spots. And by that time by, Rasmus Lindh able to check out from Kalen Frederick ever so slightly.
One driver I want to give a little props to, if you're here trackside, maybe you got the Mazda Road Indy app open and you're watching live timing, or you're at home or wherever you may be. I'm watching Colin Kaminsky from the 13th spot. Actually, he was just in 14th. He was able to get by Bruno Tomaselli. Look at his lap times, a 1:11.9. He's turned in the same times as Fraga, Enders, Ming, and Eves, and he turned that lap time, a 1:11.9, going by Tomaselli. I think Kaminsky is in a position to potentially close his way into the top 10. He's 1.4 seconds behind Kyle Dupel. Watch what happens when he gets open racetrack again. Let's see if he can get back down into the low 111s and potentially work his way into the top 10. Again, He started in 10th position, fell back to, I think, 15th at one point. He started to chip his way back forward. Colin Kaminsky in the Slick Locks D-Force Racing number 27, now in 13th.
I think several of our drivers had fallen back. Lucas Cole now trying to work his back way around McDonough, and that might have been one of the battles that I saw. Brandon Eves and Julian Vanderwatt with a nice battle as well, although that time by, Vanderwatt lost a position to Dakota Dickerson, so Dakota moves up another spot. And Vanderwatt slowly dropping back in the field, fell down to 11th position.
Vanderwatt now in the middle of a battle with his teammate Kyle Dupel. That's 11th and 12th. That's going to allow Kaminsky to come into the play. Again, I said Kaminsky trying to get into the top 10. But those two drivers in the Team Pelfrey cars are battling it out. Yeah, you're right. Vanderwatt must have had a major issue there. Yeah, look at the one lap, Michael, 120. He must have dropped the wheel, potentially 4 wheels off somewhere that we missed on the racetrack.
He was battling with Braden Eves, so he might have been trying to make a pass, put a wheel off, and that's what cost him. And then he just got pile drive by the rest of the field as they go by him. I mean, basically lost 4 spots there in just one lap.
And you can see it, Dickerson up, McDonough up a spot in a 9th. Good run for Russell McDonough, the best we've seen that driver perform here this weekend, driving for BN Racing. His teammate for most of the year, Keith Donegan, not here with us this weekend, so it's a one-off for the rookie McDonough, and the number 29 driver from Little Rock, Arkansas, currently running in the 9th position. Yeah, potentially a piece on the racetrack, but that's on the inside of the track coming onto the front straightaway, Michael. You can't see it on your screens, folks, but one of the screens we're looking at, there's a little piece just off. Well, actually, it's well off, probably a full, maybe 2 car widths to the inside of the racetrack coming out of turn number 12, not in any danger of one of our drivers getting into it.
Yeah, just off the driver's right side, exiting turn number 12. Again, not anything I think that's going to cause us to have a caution. So Kyle Kirkwood, your leader by 0.8 of a second. That has seemed to have been the gap most of this race. Rasmus Lind and that battle with his teammate Kalen Frederick has subsided for the moment. Igor Fraga and Calvin Ming up to that 5th position. Those are your top 5 working lap number 14.
Yeah, halfway past the halfway point already. 13 laps down, 12 to go. Kirkwood, Lind, Frederick, Fraga 4 seconds back. So the front running trio is pulled away. That's your podium right now. There's Fraga coming through. Leader's looking good coming down the straightaway. Kirkwood with an 0.8 of a second advantage, pretty much holding that for the last couple of laps, Michael. Hasn't stretched away anymore. You can see the big gap back to Igor Fraga in the exclusive Autosports number 91 machine. He currently runs 4th. Calvin Ming 5th. Corey Anderson 6th spot. Braden Eves, his debut here in the USF 2000 Championship with Newman Walks Racing, now running in 7th. Dakota Dickerson 8th. Lucas Cole able to slide by Russell McDonough. That's for the 9th and 10th position. Julian Vanderwatt ready to go to work on McDonough. Look at this. We're going to stack them up here. 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Those drivers all together. McDonough, Vanderwatt, Dupel, and Kaminsky.
Let's watch that battle. Let's keep this shot, and we'll wait for those 2 yellow cars to come through. They'll be back here in a little bit. That will be Vanderwatt, Dupel, and McDonough right in front of that. We'll keep an eye on that battle as there they are coming into turn number 6 right now, entering turn number 7. That is indeed a close battle with all those cars down in that position.
Yeah, Julian Vanderwatt's got a little bit of room, I believe, on his teammate. Yeah, indeed, that's him trying to close up there on the number 29 of Russell McDonough. That's for the 10th position. Again, looking at Kaminsky's lap times, he's kind of settled into where he is now. When you get locked in behind someone here and you're not able to run those open laps, and of course you're having a bit of trouble with losing some aero off the front of the car, but not so much. These cars were not designed to have a lot of aerodynamics. We actually pulled away a lot of the aerodynamic grip from the cars when we went from the old Van Diemen to this new USF 2000 Tatis. We went for more mechanical grip. Here comes an aggressive move to the bottom of the racetrack. That's Russell McDonough to the bottom. We've seen this with Vanderwatt already trying to go around Lucas Cole. They'll go 2 by 2 into turn number 1. To the outside. We've seen this before. No, can't quite make it stick this time. This is tremendous racing, though. That is a hard move to make, Michael. Obviously, turn 1, if you can get to the inside, that's your move. But with McDonough running that defensive line to the bottom, Vanderwatt so aggressive trying to get the car to stick on the outside.
Yeah, he tried, but it was, I thought better of it after that near incident that he had with Lucas Cole, actually contact with Lucas Cole, who thought better of it that time by. So that is the battle further back in the field for that 10th position as they exit turn number 7 down that long back straightaway. Kyle Kirkwood still about a 1-second advantage over Rasmus Lind. This, the battle further back, and that is for the 10th position. Watching McDonough and Julian Vanderwatt battle down into turn number 10 they come. About a half a car length. They'll exit now turn number 11, and boy, Julian Vanderwatt is there. Can he get the run down that main straightaway? Exiting turn number 12, got a nice run that time, Rob Howden. Let's see if he can make the move down into turn number 1.
I like the bottom move for McDonough. Got to hold that spot. Going to keep it going. Make sure that Julian Vanderwatt works for it. Vanderwatt's going to try the inside out. This is a good move. This is the way to try to make the move now. If you couldn't go the outside, push him into it. And you can see a little brake lock up there for Russell McDonough as they work their way down into the brake zone. It's stacked up everything. We're going down to the bottom of the racetrack. USF 2000 putting on a show here right now. And
Colin Kaminsky was all over the inside of the track.
Well, Kaminsky's watching it there. He's like, this is my opportunity. These guys are fighting for it. I got to pounce because look behind him. Kaminsky's got Kyle Dupel, Bruno Tomaselli, and Kellen Ritter right there as well, looking to find a way by.
This is a great battle from 10th on back to the 14th position. They streak out of turn number 7, and Russell McDonough doing everything he can to keep Julian Vanderwatt behind him. Colin Kaminsky on the charge as well, and Kaminsky has Dupel on his rear wing as well.
I'll tell you, Michael, who cares about the leaders? We don't need the leaders. We need the battle. We need the battle for 10th.
Yeah.
10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, putting on a show, coming through 10, 11, and 12. The roll back out of the front straightaway. I don't think Vanderwatt quite close enough as he was before. We'll see if he gets the run. No, and indeed, McDonough knows he has enough of a gap. Kaminsky using this to pull away from Dupel a little bit. But look at Vanderwatt closing back up. Oh, there's a deep move to the inside for Dupel, trying to hold off Tomaselli. Bruno took a little look to the inside, and Kyle started the turn in pretty early there.
Boy, that was a daring and shallow entry into turn number 1. Nice run for Julian Vanderwatt out of turn number 4. If he can carry that speed, as we had said, this is the key. He could potentially get around McDonough at the exit of turn number 7. Great battle there. Again, watching that 10th place position. Here they go, exiting turn number 7. And Julian Vanderwatt down to a car length over 10th place running Russell McDonough.
Okay, so this is where you get it. If you can get the run out of turn 7, it's going to help you out potentially over in turn number 1 as well. He's going to try to get as much speed as he can coming down the back straightaway here. He closes to within a car length. Does he try a move to the inside of turn number 11? He does.
Oh.
Coming to the inside of turn number 10, rather. It's Vanderwatt to the inside. McDonough to the outside. They're side by side still through. Can't quite get it done. Kaminsky coming up to try to challenge him again.
Oh, Kaminsky's got to run.
What a bold move, though
Yeah.
for Vanderwatt trying to go to the inside. Indeed, big run here. It's a slow drift to the right for McDonough. They'll work their way down here. McDonough all the way. They're going to go 2 wide, 3. They're going to try to go 3 wide. Oh, no contact between Kaminsky. Kaminsky and Vanderwatt get together coming out of turn number 1. They tried to go through 2 wide. They both get back on the clutch, fire it up, and get rolling again. That just came to a head, Michael.
Colin Kaminsky on the outside, Julian Vanderwatt on the inside. So Russell McDonough had the line going into turn number 1. They went 2 wide with Vanderwatt and Colin Kaminsky, and they just ran out of racing room.
It was almost 3 wide. McDonough to the inside.
Oh, I'd say it was 3 wide.
Vanderwatt kind of in the middle there. McDonough on the outside trying to see if he couldn't make a move. We got full course caution, Michael. I'm not sure why at this point, but being told a full course caution.
Oh, Kaminsky was completely locked up going into the turn.
And watch him come back across here. He's trying to come back across the track, and he gets up and he high centers the car over top of the curb. He just tried to force the issue. Colin was having a good run, just tried to force the issue, being told Bruno Tomaselli off the racetrack in turn number 2. That's the reason for the full course yellow. We still have a lot of time left. Still 6 laps to go. Let's reset this one and think about the lead again, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle Kirkwood is your leader. Russell McDonough in second. Rasmuth Lint in second. Kalen Frederick in third. Igor Fraga fourth. And Calvin Ming in fifth.
So that battle with Colin Kaminsky and Julian Vanderwatt, Bruno Tomaselli was right behind that battle, so she probably swung right to avoid any of that contact and potentially got into the tires there in the wall.
I think that's probably a very there she is right there. She actually looped it potentially. Coming out of that corner. Tough one for Bruna. She was having a great run. They were all stacked up nicely there. 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. But again, McDonough did what he needed to do. He ran a defensive line. He didn't move back out when he came to turn number 1, was holding that line. Of course, that stacks everyone up behind him. And I think that Kaminsky was just trying to make the big move all the way around the outside. And
when he locked him up and then still tried to make the corner, make that move, high-sided the curb, it was all over at that point. But remember, 2 laps earlier, he had that great run and thought, you get that red mist going. He said, I got to make this pass. I think he just ran out of a little patience, maybe waited another lap or two because, as you had said, he certainly had a fast race car.
No doubt. And he's coming out of turn number 1. He's right there. He just got a little maybe too aggressive. Needed to give that one up. And you could see in the replay, when he got up on top of the curbing, it got right to the middle of the chassis. He suddenly high-centered the car, lifts the wheels off the ground, and he just shot straight into the left rear of Julian Vanderwatt. That said, Julian Vanderwatt's continued. If there's no damage, he's still 13th position, and we know he has one of the fastest cars outside the top 10.
This will give Luce. Let's just look at the field now. We got McDonough settling back in. Lucas Cole with a very fast race car. Dakota Dickerson, Braden Eves. You look at that 10th through 7th through 10th. Quick cars, and this also allows Rasmus Lint and Kalen Frederick to get back in touch with the leaders, as well as Igor Fraga, who had kind of lost touch with the top 3. This might help Igor as well. It's going to be a fun finish to this race.
They've got Bruna Tomaselli's Team Pelfrey machine on the hook, so they're going to bring her in. She'll be done. We got 5 laps left to go. We're going to knock down to 4 to go when we come back around. I don't think we're going to be in the position to potentially go green next time by, so we may have 3 laps. But, Michael, let me give you a bit of an update here right now. Being told that there's going to be a penalty. Hold on. I'll get an update on this.
All right. We'll get an update as Kyle Kirkwood now the leader. Rasmus Lint runs P2. Kalen Frederick is 3rd. Igor Fraga is 4th. Calvin Ming round out your top 5. Corey Enders running in that 6th position. Braden Eves, Dakota Dickerson, Lucas Cole, Russell McDonough, the contact further back right next to him with the machine of Julian Vanderwatt and Colin Kaminsky, the reason for our caution update.
Yeah,
on
I've
the
got
situation.
the update. So remember we wondered what happened to Julian Vanderwatt why he fell back. He actually got a penalty for unavoidable contact or avoidable contact at the start of the race.
Oh, okay.
So when he actually let those 4 drivers or 3 drivers go through, he actually didn't have an issue. We didn't hear that. We didn't have race control, but being told now that he actually was given that penalty for contact at the start, he actually let them go by and then was trying to work his way back forward.
Hence why he lost those 3 positions
there you go.
out on the track.
There's the update there. And again, tough one for Vanderwatt as he tried to work his way back forward, was challenging Russell McDonough, who I'm told as well, I believe has got his last warning for blocking. They didn't like what Russell McDonough was doing. They give him a couple of warnings for blocking. He was running that defensive line to the inside. The very last one, though, where he had all the contact, he didn't move. He actually held on. I think we may be going green this time by.
Yes,
Indeed, we are. We're going to have 4 laps to go, Michael. Be 4 laps remaining. Kyle Kirkwood's going to have to defend down into Festival Curve. Here we go. Out of turn number 12. 4 to go in USF 2000. Kyle Kirkwood leads. Rasmus Lint 2nd. And we're back at it. Green, green, green. 4 laps to go in USF 2000. They'll race their way down to turn number 1.
Igor Fraga, he's got a really nice move to the inside, locked up in the front end. Wow, everybody missed turn 1. Kalen Frederick goes by again.
Both Pabst Racing drivers missing turn number 1. Rasmus Lint and Kalen Frederick. Kirkwood able to get through. Fraga able to get through. I got to believe that they run 1-2 right now. There's no way that Lint and Frederick can come out the other side having missed that corner. We'll get a better look, Michael, when they come around here. We're going to try to get an update.
I think they came back in 4th and 5th. Boy, what a cackling car. Yeah, there is. About
further
6th or
back.
7th. You're right.
One of the drivers went further back. I think it might have been Frederick that went further back. He kind of went into the corner, whereas it looked like Rasmus Lint rolling straight through. So being told the 27 to Kaminsky getting a avoidable contact. Here they come in. There is Fraga way to the bottom. Then here comes overcooking Frederick. That's Frederick on the inside, just totally overcooking the corner. He can't make it. Kirkwood cuts back through to the far right side of the race, the picture. That's Rasmus Lint, the number 23. They'll both work their way through. They've got to come back around here again. Slow coming through. The rest of the field will stream on through. Kirkwood, Fraga, and then it's Calvin Ming. Now, Ming gets out, but how does he not get out in front of Kalen Frederick? It's almost like it's too easy for our USF 2000 drivers to get through that cutoff.
Well, Kalen Frederick dropped down to 8th, so he wasn't able to make it through, but we've got a battle down into turn number 2.
But Rasmus Lint in the 5th position.
Yep.
Rasmus was the first driver through there. I'm surprised that Rasmus was able to even get up into the 5th spot.
He went through there quick. He did a very good job. But I will say the call of the race, Kyle Kirkwood was patient, even though he locked him up barely, still was able to make turn 1. It was a great job getting around Fraga and still making turn 1.
Do you remember where we saw that? the streets of Toronto, going down into it was Kalen Frederick that locked it up there. Kyle Kirkwood and Igor Fraga, the same two drivers, tucking back to the inside, and away we go.
Oh, look at this
3
battle
wide coming out
back.
of turn number what? That's turn number 5 over to turn number 6. That's out of 7. I'll tell you, when you get a couple laps like this at the end, Michael, it gets feverish. You can see they're 2 wide further back. Look at that battle. That's back in, again, 9th, 10th, 11th.
McDonough,
That's
Dupel,
Frederick,
Vanderwatt,
too.
yeah.
That's Frederick. That's Vanderwatt and Dupel in there. That's 11th and 12th. Well, USF 2000 giving our Portland fans their money's worth here this afternoon. Kaminsky, I believe, could be getting a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact. Indeed, Kaminsky will have to come into pit lane. He'll probably get off the throttle a little bit here. Look at the two Pelfrey cars side by side. That's Dupel and Vanderwatt.
Dakota Dickerson there, Russell McDonough. Great battle in front of the two Pelfrey cars. So that's 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That battle now ensuing in turn number 4. It looks like Dakota Dickerson and Russell McDonough going at it again.
Take a deep breath, folks. Last couple of laps. Kirkwood and Fraga first and second, a 1.1 second advantage for Kirkwood. Frederick trying to fight his way back forward into the 8th spot. Kellen Ritter able to get by Colin Kaminsky, I believe, for 13th position on last lap. They'll see the white flag this time by. Working their way out of turn number 7. Down that banana back straightaway, the curving right-hand back straight, 7 out of 7 to 8. Over to turn number 9, this ultra-quick flick to the left, back to the right for turn number 10.
Well, here we go. Our final. We've got basically Kyle Kirkwood with a 1 second advantage, but that battle back there for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Watch it as it exits turn number 12. White flag out. Final time by.
Paul Blevins giving them that 1 to go sign. Good lead for Kirkwood. There's Fraga. There's Calvin Ming, who has fought his way back up. Ming started 9th, stays out of trouble, could be on the podium today in USF 2000. Corey Enders does the same. He started 7th. He stays out of trouble. He's P4. Rasmuth Lint, after that off on the restart, able to work his way through those IndyCar signage to get through the little snaky chicane. He comes back on the track, luckily, in the 5th position.
Nice battle with Dakota Dickerson at 10th and Julian Vanderwatt 11th. That's the battle you just saw exiting turn number 6. Now they're coming out of 6, entering turn number 7. You'll look for that first yellow car. Right there it is in the middle portion of turn number 7. Again, the battle for 10th. Julian Vanderwatt is in 11th. He wants that 10th spot away from Dakota Dickerson.
Absolutely no quit. And Julian Vanderwatt in the Team Pelfrey number 80 machine. He and Dickerson going at it for the final spot in the top 10. They'll work their way out of turn number 8 now. Over to turn 9. There's Eves coming through, followed by Frederick, McDonough, and then Dickerson and Vanderwatt. Leaders working their way through the final corner. So, ladies and gentlemen, the wins just keep on coming. It'll be the 11th victory this year. Kyle Kirkwood, victorious here in round number 1 in Portland. The newly crowned champion puts another victory on the resume. 11 wins, 1 more win tomorrow would tie him with J.R. Hildebrand, one of the best ever USF 2000 drivers.
10 in a row, 11 total here in Portland, Oregon. The first race of the weekend in Cooper Tire's USF 2000 goes to the championship winner, Kyle Kirkwood. Icing on the cake, am I right?
Oh my, yeah, it really is. That was the hardest race of the season, no doubt. Both those starts, I'm shaking right now. The first start was crazy enough. Then we came in for that second one. I defended all the way down the inside. Broke a little bit earlier than the first one, and Kayla and Frederick came sailing down the inside. I barely saw them in my mirror, and I had to swerve out of the way. They went sailing past me, and I got the clean line. I think Igor Fraga actually drove into my rear right tire there for a second in the middle of the corner, but no, that was a crazy, crazy good race.
It was crazy good, and you've won a crazy amount of races. You win here in Portland. You got 1 more race here in 2018. Congratulations. We'll see you on the podium.
Thank you so much, Tony.